We'll work with it later. There's going to be something in the settings or something just doesn't look right.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Halftime here on the Brew Sports Network. It is first round NFL Draft Day. Get freaking excited.
What?
Hey!
What?
I'm Baxter Colburn.
I'm Tanner Burke.
How are you, Tanner Burke?
I'm super.
You're just super?
So duper super.
So duper looper mooper?
Super duper mooper.
My gosh. It's a great day to be alive, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's draft day.
It is.
It is draft day, and boy, am I excited.
I'm very excited as well, too. Brew Sports announcing their official mock draft as well, too, just a couple of minutes ago. You can go to our website, brewsportsnet.com. One of our great correspondents and writers, Ian DeMars, giving us the lowdown as the whole network, so go check that out. It's also on our Facebook page as well, too. Great work by Ian, and some pretty standard general thoughts, but also a couple of surprises in there as well, too.
Yeah.
So some good work by Ian for sure.
And we'll have some more content released as we move forward, and some good stuff for sure. We have plenty of people out working on different articles. So.
Absolutely, we're thoroughly excited. We're
thoroughly
excited about
We're really
the day.
excited about it.
We are. It's amazing.
It's gonna be pretty sweet.
It's the best day of our life. My God. We have two great things coming up for you today. First, we have our first player interview as well on halftime. It's kind of an exciting time. Seattle Reign midfielder Christine Nairn is going to be here with us, former U.S. women's national team player, so it's going to be great to get her on. She'll be coming up in just a little bit. And then David Kenyon of Bleacher Report, our good friend, is going to be here to help us break all the magic and mysticalness. I just have a lisp today.
I don't know
like.
if you know this, but David and I are actually very good friends.
Are you?
Yes.
You and Big D? How do you know Big DK?
From Pick 6.
From Pick 6?
Yeah.
You guys go way back.
I jumped the gun and just called him my friend, and we've been best friends ever since.
Well, I mean, you've played Super Smash Bros. Before, right?
Yeah.
So you fight for your friends like Captain Falcon does.
Have you ever played Super Smashed Bros?
I've gotten smashed with my bros before, but I have never smashed.
You've never gotten smashed while playing Super Smash Bros?
I've played drunk
with your bros?
I've played drunk Mario Kart before.
Drunk driving?
Yeah, drunk driving. We do not condone drunk driving. We do not condone Brew Sports and driving. Well, we kind of do.
Well, sometimes.
We do, but we do have a play for you. You can listen to the show live on Spreaker.com, though, if you are driving.
Stop. Are you serious?
You can put it through your little Bluetooth.
You know what's
business
great
in the
is,
car.
even if you miss a show and you want to get back and get caught up on it, you can download it on iTunes into your podcast app.
Shut the front door.
I know.
I
know.
That's got to be illegal.
Stop. It's ridiculous.
Somebody's going to get fired. That can't be allowed.
Geez.
It's like ESPN in here. We're just killing people left and right.
Oh my
Too
gosh.
soon?
Do you have a favorite podcast? Do you
Uh,
have a favorite Bobcast?
Favorite Bobcast? Our producer,
There's got
David
to be a podcast named Bobcast, right?
I hope so. If not, that's
The Bobcast?
Someone's got to get off. I'm sure Bob,
There's
somebody
some Bob
out
out there who took advantage
like,
of that.
Bobcast.
Do you listen to podcasts?
I
though?
do. Yeah, I've got 3 that I listen to. I listen to Wait, Don't Tell Me.
Okay.
I also listen to
Wait. Don't tell me. Okay, go ahead.
Ask me another.
Okay, go ahead. Ask me another.
Yes, those are the 2 of NPR's great ones. I also listen to What's the Score of the Sports News Quiz.
Of course.
Anyway,
Of course.
I also listen to Plumbing.
Shameless plug.
I also listen to Plumbing the Death Star.
Plumbing the Death Star.
It's freaking
hilarious. I don't
hilarious.
know what any of these have to do with anything, but I'm going to look
None
them
of them
up.
have to do with sports.
It's great. I love podcasts, especially when I'm out doing like out on a long drive or something like that. They are great for driving, of course. I don't have many that I listen to regularly. I do the Comedy Bang Bang, which is always fun. It started out as a podcast and they turned it into a show. The show I think is funnier now than the podcast, but aside from that, mainly just like fantasy football stuff.
Absolutely. Trevor says a good afternoon to us. He says he's thirsty for some reason. Well, I mean, it is Thursday, Trevor, so I mean, why not, I guess? You got to be thirsty. Luis says Copa America's got some big news that just came out. Yes, the 2020 Copa America will return to the U.S. of A., so some exciting stuff to say the least. Patrick also says, just like Steve Harvey on Family Feud when he likes every family there. All the guessing correspondents are Tanner's favorite. Tanner doesn't have the mustache of Steve Harvey, though.
I don't. I could get it, though.
That would be amazing if
next
you had
week.
the Steve Harvey.
Next week on Wednesday, I'll come in with a
You'll
Steve
be
Harvey
like,
mustache.
welcome to Happy Hour. Wait a minute. I'm sorry, folks. I read the wrong name.
Much like any of
actually
my
halftime.
Any of my impersonations, they are all impersonations of people who are doing impersonations of other people.
How would you impersonate someone doing a Steve Harvey impersonation?
Kenan Thompson.
Oh, yeah.
Easily.
Yeah.
Open
a Family Feud, and you're like,
Family Feud.
He sucks on his lip a little bit. Like, yeah, Steve Harvey. Oh my gosh, I wonder how much of that man is actually real and not Botoxed and faked.
Steve
anymore.
Harvey.
Yeah,
he has no wrinkles. Not a single wrinkle.
No, I mean, he's a good-looking black man. No wrinkles in his
Perfectly
head. Nothing.
shaved,
I'm like,
bald head.
I don't know how much of you is actually real.
What is he? When you know how anytime you go to get a haircut.
Right.
And that your barber, hairdresser, whatever asks, they say, "Well, what do you want?"
Yeah.
Does Steve Harvey have to go in and they ask him "Hey, what do you want?" He's like, "You know what? I'm gonna go clean this time."
You go clean. Has Steve Harvey ever had hair? I'm sure. I mean, we've all.
Does he get a haircut? Does he cut his own? Does he shave his own head?
Steve Harvey. He doesn't have to pay for that crap.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I mean,
so every morning, does he have somebody just Barbasol up the top of his head?
He gets the little the buffer that kind of thing.
A full buffer?
Yeah, that's how it gets so shiny.
Yeah.
Little bing. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Adam wants to know if I saw the brawl in the Copa. No, I did not, unfortunately. I don't know.
There is something that I do want to talk about, though.
Please
do. I didn't bring up before.
It is Thirsty Thursday, where we give you a couple of things we're thirsty about.
Thirsty to see what happens with the Tottenham Hotspurs now.
Tottenham?
Did you hear what happened?
I may or may not have.
There was this is why European soccer is just flipping crazy, okay?
True.
And it's amazing. They're the most passionate fans, but it's scary sometimes. It's like always being inside of a Philadelphia Flyers arena. Always. So
it's terrifying.
What happened was
what happened
was there was a Tottenham Hotspurs fan who was mistaken for a Chelsea fan. And
how do you mess that up?
I don't know. But these fans beat the crap out of this guy.
Oh, my God.
And they broke his skull. Literally, they beat the crap out of this guy.
Why?
And they were wrong. They're
like, oh, just kidding. It's just Jim.
It's just Jim. Turns out it was a Hotspurs jersey.
We killed Jim.
His face is all black and blue.
How does that even...
Isn't this absurd?
That's incredibly absurd. They don't even have the same looking jerseys.
I would be equally as upset, if not more, if they had done this to an actual Chelsea fan. I mean, I get it. They're very competitive out there.
People are taking it to a whole nother level. I feel like
they're just ganged up on this guy. It turns out he was a Hotspurs fan. I don't get it. I
don't understand it either. That doesn't make a lot of sense.
I'm thirsty to see what happens because did you not hear about this?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I'm thirsty to see what happens. What the league? I mean, just FIFA in general. I mean, just somebody needs to come out and talk about and address finally some of these brutal fights. I mean, people die at these games. And this guy was one of their own. They just beat the crap out of him. What the heck? The Hotspurs come out and say something. I don't know. It's pretty insane.
See, stuff like that blows my mind a little bit because it's guys, it is a sport, and I know that I know I'm in the minority where I would much rather watch a game from the broadcast booth or on the field rather instead of being in the stands. And I know a lot of people it's about the experience. I'm well, yeah, I'd rather tell you about the experience than be the guy in the seventh row getting a beer thrown in my head and then a chair smashed over my face because I happen to have had the same color on as the opposing team. I don't want that. I'd rather be in the booth with my bow tie calling the game the way I see it because that's what I prefer to do. I mean, I watch sports in a whole other manner than I know a lot of other people don't, obviously, but it seems a little questionable to me personally. I don't know. I don't know how your take is on that, honestly.
Michael Voller, 23, was punched in the face, causing a broken cheekbone, eye socket, and skull after Spurs met Chelsea in the FA Cup semifinal at Wembley on Saturday, April 22nd. A Tottenham Hotspur fan was left with serious injuries after an unprovoked attack by a fellow Spurs supporter who may have mistaken him for a Chelsea fan, police said. What are you doing?
Where do you have to be in your life to try to literally beat the crap out of somebody at a game? In a game where Chelsea won,
sad.
Chelsea won 4-2. If people forget about this, Chelsea won the game. This is the winning team beating the losing team off the field.
And the losing team is beating up the losing team. Off the field. Spurs fans are beating up Spurs fans after the Spurs lost. I don't know.
It doesn't make any sense to me. And, of course, Adam's trying to start some fire, of course, with me this morning. He says, well, if you wear a bow tie, I'll throw a chair through the broadcast booth. Listen, Adam, you and I apparently aren't close enough friends yet to know that I am recognized in my broadcast profession for wearing a bow tie. Even ask Tanner. He's called games with me while I've worn a bow tie before. It's wow. Part of my persona. It's part of who I am from a broadcast perspective.
They haven't even caught this guy.
Unfreaking believable. The things, though, that these fans get away with, though, is ridiculous.
He's described as a white man in his early 20s, approximately 5'10", and he was wearing a black hooded top or jacket. Detective Constable James Robb of Brent CID said this was a violent, unprovoked assault that has left the young man with some terrible injuries that could end up affecting him. The guy's
name isn't Constable, right?
Anyone with information. So anybody out there that has any information on this early 20s white man, 5'10", with black hooded top or jacket.
If you just have a clue.
Very vague. Is asked to call Brent CID on 020-8733-3737 or Crime Stoppers anonymously on 0800-555-111. Are these real numbers? Are these real phone numbers?
555-6969-5569. What?
Gosh. They're not even... Am I reading it? I mean, they're not. Are they backwards in Europe? Is it like when the toilet flushes the opposite way? It's like 111-555-0080, or is it 0800-555-111?
Yes.
Crime Stopper. I don't know what's going on.
Bruce Sports.
Bruce Sports.
I don't understand.
Oh, my gosh.
It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Yeah, there's also some big games, of course. The soccer fans that are tuning in, go figure, we have soccer fans that actually watch the show. Josh and Adam saying today's the big game, Man U versus Man City. They are that's just a ridiculous rivalry, I'll be honest. I mean, Adam says, come on, United.
Come on, United.
Come on, you Reds. Yeah, no, I'm excited for it. But at the same time, I mean, I'm more of an American soccer guy myself, but I do respect the EPL. I do respect what everything is taking place over there in that regards. But I mean, I'm not getting too much into it. Go Arsenal. I don't know. I don't
really.
I'm an Arsenal fan. Yeah.
All right.
It doesn't. I mean, not very much, but I'm more of an NWSL and more of an MLS guy fan myself. There's too many teams in America to deal with outside of soccer to be a fan of other teams in Europe as well too. When you cover sports on a daily basis, there's too much going on. You're like, I don't have time to be a fan.
Yes,
it's the honest truth. That is the absolute honest truth. But speaking of which, though, speaking of soccer, so we did get the chance yesterday to sit down with Christine Nairn from the Seattle Reign. She had the opportunity to chat with us. We talked about everything from Starbucks Frappuccinos to walking dogs to soccer. We actually talked about soccer. We talked about soccer a little bit. It actually was. I know. No bingo squares.
I actually brought up soccer on this show today, so.
My God, I know.
Check that out.
Right?
That's something that you didn't even know about.
I know.
Insane.
That's crazy. Like that's always my favorite thing, though, when people are like, oh, you like soccer. You obviously heard about this.
Yes.
No, I didn't.
I just assumed.
I work for an American broadcast company. I work for an American broadcast company that doesn't talk about soccer very often. I have to not talk about and focus on soccer. That's what I do 2 Up Front for on Wednesdays, so I can talk about soccer.
You're not wrong.
But we are trying to break back into that theme, though, obviously. So Christine Nairn, though, had the opportunity to swing by the studio. We've got the full interview for you now. Take a look at it and enjoy. All right, so there you go. A good interview there from Christine Nairn at the Seattle Reign. A pleasure, of course, to talk with her about everything. From my knowledge, she did successfully get the dogs back home as well, too. So not only is she a good soccer player, but she is a very successful dog walker as well, too.
I just want to point out, when we transition from the pre-recorded interview to our interview, it's almost like we're just transforming into today's, because like we're in the same spots, just wearing different clothes.
Different clothes. My hair is not done anymore.
Like, it just look kind of funny.
I know the soccer ball moved.
Yeah,
like it's just like.
Whoosh, like we gotta have people point out the differences. But
I know it's like one of those spotted games or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm all about that life. You found some weird crap during the interview. Like you were telling me some weird stuff, like not like kinky weird stuff, but like you were talking to me about like some fights and some
scrolling
like
through.
Not murders, but like robberies.
I was like, maybe we just need to have a segment like once a week where we just scroll through TMZ sports headlines because they're always
probably
ridiculous.
A smart idea.
If you know anything about TMZ, it's always a stretch, and they always just go way overboard. But let me just read a couple of these here. First of all, I found out Marshawn Lynch is hosting an Oakland block party. ... I'm a Raider. I want to be at that block party. That'd be just amazing to hang out with all the Raiders and all the Raiders fans. It'd be pretty insane. Here's another headline. I don't even need to read the articles because these headlines are good enough. Apparently, Toronto Raptors star farts on team plane. ... Teammates stinking mad. That is the headline.
That's amazing.
And there's a video here which
you mad, bro?
I'll share it on the Brew Sports page, but all of them have their shirts up over their noses, which is hilarious. Yeah, so it's Aaron Hernandez's third note was for attorney ... not gay lover, unless his attorney is his. Moving on. All right. These are just funny.
That sounds amazing. That does sound absolutely amazing.
I also wanted to address the fact that during the interview, I was thinking about these soccer fights in Europe.
Yeah.
Football fights.
Football.
In Europe, it's football.
Politically correct, of course.
I have an issue with that. I have an issue with the fact that it keeps happening. Like it keeps happening. There are fights between. It's not just in the EPL. It's in any European soccer league, for that matter. Russia apparently is legalizing fights between fans at soccer events, which is, I mean,
seems
insane,
a little
yes,
par
but
for the seems a little par for the course though for Russia, doesn't that?
Yes,
though?
it does. It absolutely does. Now here's the deal. If I always pick on the Flyers fans because I'm never going to take my infant son to a Flyers game. So hypothetically, sorry, any Philadelphia fans out there. If there, I'm just using you as an example for the sake of my
It's
not
that we don't like you; it's that we just don't like you.
Say a Flyers fan beat the crap out of another Flyers fan and thought by accident that he may have been a fan of the opposing team, of the Buffalo Sabres.
That'd have been hell to pay.
It would be on every headline, on every media outlet. If it has anything to do with sports, it would be in regular news. It would be everywhere, saying, "Oh, this guy was beaten. He broke his skull. He fractured his eye." Like, I don't know. Like, it'd be ridiculous. It'd be insane. But this happens all the time in Europe, and yet I can't find like this anywhere. Like, I was looking through soccer websites, and it was not talked about any. I don't even know, quite frankly, how I stumbled upon it.
I don't either. That's why, like I said, you're the one that told me about this, and I'm like, I hadn't even heard about this.
It happened yesterday, and it is literally not on a headline on ESPN's page, any soccer source. You will not. It's not even on TMZ Sports. Like, I mean, this seems like content for TMZ Sports.
I was going to say they'd be all about this stuff.
I know.
They're like, oh, these two idiots can't figure out who to hit.
That's my issue with that, though. Is they're literally. I mean, it's in comparison to how we handle sports news here in the United States, it's insane because they're totally accepting of soccer fans beating the crap out of other soccer fans, even if they're their own.
With that. Yeah,
like these are fans beating up their own kin. You know what I mean? And it's not making headlines or news anywhere. What is? I mean, and no one's addressing the issue either. By the way,
right?
Like we have things that happen all the time in the United States that are always talked about,
right?
Not to get political, but with like gun issues and stuff like that. Like these things happen all the time, and they're continuously talked about. But these fights happen all the time in Europe. People die, people get beaten, and like it's never brought up. They're just accepting of it. It's insane to me. How has nobody talked about this? Where's FIFA coming out and saying, "Hey, all right, we get it, you're passionate, but we all know that like it's not about the fights."
The
it's
one
about
thing
the
that
sport,
unfortunately is true though about the soccer world is that FIFA and the governing body of soccer as a whole is incredibly corrupt. So until that ship is completely righted,
that's a good point.
It's going to take a long time. A lot of the stuff
we could do a whole show
under.
on that.
Oh, absolutely. The corruption of FIFA.
The next time the World Cup comes around, we'll talk about it.
Perfect. I'll see you next year.
Next year. Is that next year?
Next year already.
Yes.
Russia 2018.
I'm so excited. I love the World Cup.
I do too.
Even though it's corrupt.
It
I
is.
mean, whatever.
And
Why
it's in
not?
Russia. Kind of goes hand in hand.
Adam says the Russian minister to FIFA encouraged Russian football fans to cause trouble in France during the Euros last year. He was on TV telling them what to do. Oh, my God.
Wow. Well,
it's crazy. Yeah, Josh said exactly what I was thinking. I couldn't remember the name of it. It's like a highlights magazine.
Yes.
What's different page.
Yes, that is exactly
Anytime
true.
I went to the doctor's office or the dentist or whatever, they always had highlights magazines, and I mean, usually some of them had like actual pen, like
right.
circling
I know,
them,
and you're like, well, thanks. I already.
Thanks, Steve or whoever.
Karen.
I
hate Karen on the morning. I always feel so bad about that.
Oh my gosh.
All right, so we have a great opportunity, of course, to talk about the NFL draft. We have some friends that like football. That some might call them our football friends. I don't know if that's how you view them. You have several. You have several football friends, don't you?
He's one of my friends.
He is a good friend.
I declared it on Tuesday.
You did.
It's absolutely.
Well,
one of
who's
my
your
friends.
football friend? I'll let you introduce your
my
football friend.
My football friend is David Kenyon from Bleacher Report.
David Kenyon.
Hello.
Hello, my football friends. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing well. I see you're wearing your European football jersey there or attire.
I am. I coached an indoor soccer team, and one of the kids was like, "Hey, can we get these?" I'm like, sure, I don't care.
Why not?
Turns out they shipped them from Europe, so it's authentic.
Yeah,
there you
that's
go.
the best.
Does it have any blood of other fans on it already, or no?
No, other coaches, but not fans.
That's real quick. I know we have you on to talk football, but in regards to European football,
you didn't specify.
I know
one.
that's true. Do you have any comment on the Tottenham Hotspur's fans beating up another Tottenham Hotspur fan by mistake, and anything in regards to European soccer fights or football fights?
Nothing more that you haven't said already. I mean, it's just disgusting as a whole that it happens. I understand that it does, but man, it's just brutal. And you can think of even related to the American sports. There was the Dodger-Giants fight a couple of years ago where the guy, I think, was beaten into a coma. I mean, it's just disgusting.
Yeah, I remember that. That was not. I don't understand why that's okay. And nobody talks about it very often.
Well, that's what I'm saying in regards to soccer. Nobody talks about it.
Right.
Even in the U.S., like this is content that the U.S. would totally eat up, but nobody talks about it.
Do you think just because like the shenanigans of European and South American soccer are just so like that's like the norm that people are like, well, oh yeah, of course there was people beating each other up. They're so passionate about their game. Like that seems a bit far to me personally.
Well, you think about the NFL stuff too. There are a lot of parents who just refuse to take their kids to games now because it seems that every week there's, whether it's Buffalo or Oakland or a lot of these teams, like there have been some pretty crazy people, especially like Buffalo and tailgating. That's a big one. There's a video coming out every week of somebody doing something stupid.
Well, I mean, in regards to the Bills Mafia, David, I don't know if you know this, but I am a Bills fan, and I am a part of the Bills Mafia, and I have partook in some shenanigans.
What?
But
that doesn't seem like your personality.
I know, but it's funny when you say the video comes out every week, and it's true, it does, and it has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that Barstool is run by New England Patriots fans, and they just love hating on the Bills. But I love it, I welcome it.
Yeah,
I'm all about the
good
shenanigans.
fun.
But in regards to that aspect, yes, like obviously. Baxter's not bringing his infant son Beckham to a Bills game with me.
No.
Like he just wouldn't fit in at that point. It's not because he's a Packers fan.
Yeah, right. Exactly. It's because I actually have standards for my son's well-being, basically.
Well, listen, we've 17 years without a playoff game, and
my son
4 straight Super Bowl losses. We've gone through a lot of sorrow.
The Packers are 7-1 in Beckham's lifetime, so I think that's a pretty good standard for him. He knows nothing but wins. Aside from Atlanta.
Yes.
We don't talk about Atlanta.
We don't talk about that.
But what we do talk about is the NFL draft, of course.
Which is today.
It is today.
Oh,
Round
my
1.
Gosh.
Lord have mercy.
Amazing.
Shut it down.
Oh.
Get excited.
Unbelievable.
Stand up, sit down, fight,
Ridiculous.
fight. Holy cow.
What's in my mouth?
That's tomorrow. That is tomorrow. David's like, why do I do these shows with these guys? I don't know, David. I really don't. I'm waiting for you to be
the worst.
You're absolutely correct. I don't think we were hiding that.
People don't watch this because we're smart. People watch this because
we're idiots.
Yes.
I'm ugly and
Everybody
I'm
has
proud.
their own nit.
This is true.
Yes,
this is
exactly.
True.
So the first 1 through 15 picks have been basically beat into the ground like a Tottenham Spurs fan. Basically.
Oh, come on!
Is that too soon?
Oh,
wait.
Man! Oh my God!
So I want to focus on 16 through 32, basically anything that doesn't have to do with the Buffalo Bills because we don't want to hear about them anymore. But
now you want to talk about the Packers just because the Packers fall into this.
I don't even want to say I want to
Okay.
talk about the Packers. I just said I want to talk about people outside of that.
Which include the Packers.
That just happens to be how they fell this year. 29th, that means they were one of the best in the NFL this year. But that's irrelevant. But it's not. So I'm curious to get your thoughts about this because a lot of people have been saying this is a very quarterback-driven first round. Patrick Mahomes has been a very high, chatty quarterback as a whole. People are very excited about him. One of the landing spots that I've seen for him is Washington, which I find to be rather interesting. Washington holds the 17th pick overall. They've got the whole Kirk Cousins drama going on.
Do you like that?
I don't know.
Patrick Mahomes going to Washington? Do you like that?
I don't know if I do. I know what you're doing, but I don't know if I... That's why I honestly don't know if I do like that or not. And that's why I'm curious to start with Patrick Mahomes because people have been comparing him to Brett Favre. Just because he can throw the ball 80 yards doesn't mean he's Brett Favre.
This is true.
He doesn't have this Brett Favre in him, totally different hair. Patrick Mahomes doesn't look good in Wranglers. There's a lot of things that go into this.
Brett Favre also threw a lot of interceptions.
Which
so
Patrick Mahomes, I think, is part of that.
He's on track.
As well, too. But, David, your thoughts about the Washington possibility of taking a guy like Patrick Mahomes at 17?
Well, Patrick Mahomes, a guy I like to compare to Brett Favre because of his gunslinging style. Baxter. Anyway, so I personally think Mahomes will be gone at that time, whether it's Arizona taking him to learn behind Carson Palmer for a year, maybe 2, maybe Houston Texans trade up. I have been a huge fan of Mahomes. My little back padding for the last 2 years before Carson Wentz was a thing, I was like, hey, I think they should take a flyer on this guy. And then all of a sudden he became popular, and then he was second pick. And Mahomes, all last summer, I'm like, this guy is awesome. He's just the epitome of backyard football. He's fun.
Right. Who is his backyard football equivalent? I mean, you can't throw something like that without having a good cross comparison.
Brett Favre?
I mean,
Brett Favre.
Oh, right.
I'm sure. I think Baxter. Are you talking about just the actual characters?
The actual kids. Yeah.
See, Baxter was always he's always been the one who drafts the characters. I was always the one who drafted
about how I've
the professional athletes who were way better.
It's
and
not
I'm basically
fair.
setting up I know it's not. I'm 8 years old. Of course, I'm going to pick the All-Star team. I'd be stupid not to.
And Pablo Sanchez.
He's the only actual character. Well, Dimitri was the best kicker.
Ricky Johnson's also a really good kicker as well too. Kenny Kawaguchi.
Dimitri can block, so yeah.
Also true, dual threat.
Does Patrick Mahomes have a character?
Sure, whatever you want to call it. I don't know.
Trying to think of all of them. I mean, there's a lot. The one I would think of, it's not very close, but he was the only mobile quarterback I can remember, Steve Young. So he can be Steve Young of backyard football.
There you go. As long as he's not Brett Favre.
I just love. What's funny is Baxter and I have been playing backyard football recently, and I went back when I was drafting. I was like, do I pick Steve Young? And I hit no, and it says, oh, that's all right. I'm just going to go play with my friend Jerry anyways. And I'm like, okay, listen, man. All right. Let's see what you did there.
You and Jay Rye there are BFFs.
That's how I learned that Brett Favre's role model growing up was Archie Manning.
Oh, I never realized that Brett Favre wrestled gators until
Apparently.
And that's how he would tackle people, just like wrestling
Did
gators.
he wrestle them or
home.
did he wrangle them?
Wrangler I don't think was around back at that point. It probably was. So aside from Patrick Mahomes, of course, there's a lot of other questions swirling around for the NFL draft. I want to talk about backyard football. I really do.
Obviously. We do it too much, I think.
I think we're trying to do Do we though?
I don't know.
We give the people what they want.
I love backyard football.
I do. I agree. Can we just talk about how like Forrest Lamp is the most backyard football name ever, though?
Forrest Lamp.
Forrest Lamp. He's an offensive lineman projected to go to the Dolphins. Have you heard of Forrest Lamp?
Forrest Lamp is like one of those generically made characters who like they just used to fill in spots, but like every character looks the same just with a different skin tone. It's like the short hair, the long Hey Arnold size like football head. And they're like 3 feet tall.
Yep, exactly. But they can run like a 3.5 40. Yeah. It's like, shut the front door, Chico Papas. Or whoever.
Chico Papas.
That's one of the guys I had to deal with.
Forrest Lamp.
Yep, exactly. But Forrest Lamp, though, an offensive lineman, possibly going to Miami to help out Ryan Tannehill in the freaky bunch down there. How do you feel about that one, David?
I like Forrest Lamp. He was a tackle at Western Kentucky. Just the way he measured out at the combine, people said he's a guard. But some of the Alabama offensive linemen after their game earlier this year, then after the season, they said Forrest Lamp was the best lineman we faced all year. And, I mean, that's saying something coming out of the SEC. You get a Western Kentucky guy who they consider the best. He's a good prospect. I think he'll probably get a shot to stick at tackle depending on where he gets drafted. But say for the Dolphins, I mean, they pretty much need help everywhere other than center. So
True,
that would be a good pick for them.
That's what I was going to say in regards to the Miami Dolphins. And Baxter said bringing in a guy like Forrest Lamp to help out Ryan Tannehill. First of all, is Ryan Tannehill franchise quarterback worthy? And like you said, there are a lot of holes in the Miami team, and they're synonymous for bringing in players who are way past their prime, and Sue and Mario Williams. Is this a smart move in investing in their offensive line when we're not really sure what's going on there at running back? We're not really sure what's going on there at quarterback. So who are they really protecting, and can Ryan Tannehill be their franchise quarterback for the next 10 years?
I don't know about 10 years, but it's one of those very hard dilemmas that franchises need to think about. Like Jay Cutler, for example. We can mock Jay Cutler all we want. But do you really want Josh McCown or Jimmy Clausen running your team? We saw how much worse the Bears were. The Dolphins would take a few steps back without Tannehill. Is he the next top 5, maybe top 10? Probably not. But he's about as solid an 11 to 20 quarterback as you're going to find. Build around him, get your defense better. They had the worst linebacking core in the entire league last year. And the offensive line doesn't help much in the passing game. If you shore those up, maybe Tannehill doesn't look so bad.
I've got a question from Jeff on Facebook, David, and maybe Tanner, you can help this out as well, too. He says, are any of the balls in the draft this year?
I wasn't going to address this question. Are there any balls in the draft? No, there are no. LeVar is not going back into the draft.
What about Ledecky?
Ledecky?
I feel like Ledecky would be.
Did you ever watch Blue Mountain State?
Very briefly.
Okay, David, did you ever watch Blue Mountain State?
Not religiously.
Okay, this is totally off track. This was so funny. There was a character in Blue Mountain State. After they graduate, obviously they're not on the show anymore, and he was one of the main characters, one of the more popular characters. He went to an actual NFL draft as his character, and it was like a 5-minute mockumentary video of it. And he's sitting there the whole time just getting nervous. Anyways, it was hilarious, but I'll have to show it to you at some point.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, Blue Mountain State. Maybe I'll post it on the page.
You should. You post a lot of things, so I might as well. One of the other, of course, big names is T.J. Watt. I've seen a lot of articles suggesting that he's going to go to Green Bay, which seems a little. I have a hard time believing that.
That's a home.
It is
friendly pick.
Every time that there's a Badger rumored to go to the Packers, like part of me gets a little excited, but at the same time, part of me is just like, well. Could we not do any better? But I don't know.
I don't think you want to. It's tough because my teams are always synonymous for doing the same thing. We'll draft people from Western New York or whatever, or who went to UB or whatever. But I don't think it's a good move because you can't look at your organization and say, oh, it'd be really nice to have this guy. It'd be a great storyline. Mm-hmm. You can't win a franchise off of a good storyline.
You're going to get some nice articles off of it, but just because TJ is from Pewaukee, Wisconsin, and now he's always wanted to be a Green Bay Packer, that's not why you draft him.
No.
No. So
it would help, yes, because of course he's going to be motivated. But if it's the right pick, then absolutely do it. But don't overdraft somebody just
Exactly.
because they have connections to your hometown.
I agree. David, is a guy like T.J. Watt, number one, going to be around come pick 29? And number two, does Green Bay need to bother with the homerist pick that it would be Watt?
I think he'll be around. He's a very borderline fringe, whatever you want to call, round one or round two. He's a very quality player, and I don't think it would be a homer pick. It's just the proximity that, like you said, creates the storylines. But this is such a talented edge rushing class that they're going to have options there, whether it's Watt or Tackerist McKinley or Charles Harris or Jordan Willis from Kansas State. Remember that one, Packers fans, because you always talk about, well, who's that guy from that one place? You know, it happens every year, whether it's Demarius Randall or whoever. Jordan Willis from Kansas State, he's one that would make a lot of sense for them. He was one of the best pass rushers in the Big 12, and the Big 12 is a passing conference. And he, I believe, was the Defensive Player of the Year. I might be mistaken on that, but he was definitely a first-team All-Conference. He's a really good player.
David, before we let you go, I have one more question. I guess it's a two-part question. So, are you going to be watching the draft tonight? Where are you going to be watching it? And do you have anything that you're particularly excited about seeing at the draft tonight, or at least the first round?
I will not be physically watching the draft. I actually have to work tonight. I work for a minor league baseball team here in town.
You just do it all, don't you?
I'm doing – what's that?
You just do it all, don't you?
He really does.
I do a lot. But, so I'll be watching the tracker. And if the TV's on, I'm sure we'll have it on. We'll probably turn the volume up. And then tonight, what is the biggest thing? Probably Jabril Peppers. I'm very curious to see where he goes. He's probably going to be a safety. Just depends on which team drafts him. The Falcons have made a lot of sense. And with Dan Quinn, who's not afraid to put his defensive players in attacking spots, Peppers would be an interesting pick for them. He's just so talented, so athletic. I hate that word, but because obviously all of these guys are athletic, but the definition of athleticism is Jabril Peppers. True. And so just to see which team is going to take a chance on him and try to fit him into one position.
I've seen a couple of mock drafts of him actually going like in the second round to the Browns right away with their first pick in the second round. I mean, there's a lot of things that line up for Cleveland to actually be smart, but there's that Cleveland Brown, esque about it that I'm not exactly sure that may end up actually happening. So, David, we always appreciate you swinging by, of course. Have a great time tonight at the game. Of course, work hard, play hard, and we look forward to having you back here again soon. Where can people find you all over the wide world of sports and the internet?
On my writing on Bleacher Report, and you can follow me on Twitter at Kenyon19_BR.
Always a pleasure, David. Perfect. We'll talk to you soon, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, there goes David Kenyon. Of course, if you are trying to find a place to watch the NFL Draft tonight, why not head over to Brew Sports? We will be live starting at 7 p.m. Central Time this very evening with full coverage of the first round of the NFL Draft. We'll be on the air from 7 to 9 p.m. Central Time. I know that there's going to be some picks taking place after 9 p.m. Central Time, but we're going to just give you 2 hours of it. We're going to give you the nitty-gritty, the meat, the potatoes. See,
the meat and potatoes.
We're going to probably come up with some sort of a drinking game for every time Cleveland or the Jets do something stupid. So make sure you tune in for that. 7 p.m. Central Time. There's also going to be a link in the comment section tonight as well, too, so that if you, the fan, wants to join the broadcast, you can do that. So that you can let us know your opinions in live and real time for what you think of your team's pick tonight. So looking forward to that, to say the least. But I'm looking more forward to eating lunch today, Tanner.
I love lunch.
I'm very hungry. I don't know I was told to pick up some buns and chips on my way home for lunch.
Yes.
I'm going home for lunch today to hang out with the wife and child. But what's for lunch for you today, Tanner?
I'm making a sandwich today.
Makes sense. Yeah, Thursday seems kind of like a sandwich day. Yeah, I'm cool with that.
I'm trying to get back into shape. So I'm doing something light. Okay?
Sure.
I'm doing something light today. But first things first, you have to start with bread when it comes to a sandwich. So
Texas
I'm gonna
toast?
No, I'm not doing Texas toast
Really?
today. I'm stepping outside of the lines.
I'm so
doing
proud
something
of you.
different. I had a Texas toast sandwich last week. It was a little bit much for me, so I need something a little bit lighter. It was a little thick.
Trying to cut back.
It's a big sandwich. I'm going to cut back.
Right.
So today I'm going to use a Kaiser roll. So Deshaun Kaiser from Notre Dame is going to be my Kaiser role.
All right.
Fitting because the draft is tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central, 6 o'clock Mountain Time.
There you go. And
5 o'clock Pacific.
there it is. Somebody ring a bell.
So Deshaun Kaiser is going to be my Kaiser role. First things first. Well, second things first. Mm-hmm. We need some meat.
Always
Ain't a
helps.
sandwich without any meat.
Always helps.
So I'm going to use some fresh cut meat in regards to all of the ESPN employees that were laid off in the last 48 hours. Fresh cut meat. But listen, I may be on a diet, but you gotta double up on protein.
Of course.
Okay, so I'm going to put some extra beef in there, some roast beef to go along with my fresh cut meat.
Okay.
My roast beef is Eric Thames roasting the beef he has with the media and every team he is obliterating right now. So, roasted.
Boom.
Eric Thames, still not on steroids for those of you who are tuning in.
He's just a very strong, athletic man.
So I have my Kaiser roll. I have my fresh cut ESPN employees meat. I have my Eric Thames roast beef. And we need some lettuce.
Always helpful.
So I'm going to use the entire country of Canada for legalizing recreational marijuana. Good for you, eh? Got to get your greens.
They're very important to a well-balanced diet.
I love how every time I do this, I come in, I'm like, are there any athletes smoking weed out there? And then like immediately,
wait.
Ding, something comes in. I'm like,
Got
okay.
it!
Apparently, it's not hard. It's not hard to make that correlation.
Really not hard.
All right, I'm just going to throw this on here. I'm going to need some extra veggies. Aaron Hernandez apparently had synthetic marijuana in his system, so I'll throw some more
There you
lettuce
go.
on there.
Never a good idea. Never a bad idea to double down. Double meat, double lettuce.
Double meat, double lettuce. It's a big sandwich. It's a big sandwich.
It's a Kaiser roll. You got the room
I'm
for
skipping the mayo today.
it. Wow.
I got to cut corners.
Got it? Yeah.
Got to cut corners.
Goes right to the butt.
But I do want a little bit of spice. I'm going to throw some hot peppers on there because I'm from Buffalo. I love spicy foods. But just a sample of hot peppers.
Okay.
So what I'll do for my sample of hot peppers is Jabril Peppers, since he's on the hot seat for his diluted sample at the combine. Just a sample of peppers.
Just a little bit. Just a small,
just a small
like
sample.
maybe that much.
Just enough to get the heat in there.
Right.
Just the spice.
Just enough.
Yes, and since I cut out the mayo, I'm going to put something on the side. I'm going to cheat a little bit. Just don't tell my girlfriend. I'm going to, since Marshawn is throwing his block party, I need to celebrate by opening up a bag of Skittles.
Sounds yummy.
That's delicious.
That sounds like a phenomenal sandwich. Very thick.
It's going to be great.
Very juicy.
Thick, hearty, and then a little bit of sugar.
A little bit.
It's good to have a side.
It's good to have a little bit of
you can't have like a sandwich without like a side, and usually it's like chips or fries.
Right,
I was
and
like,
this
today I
time you
chose
decided
candy.
to choose to go with
Skittles.
Skittles, yeah. I'm all about that life. I
Sweet.
completely support that decision on your end.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate
Absolutely.
it. I'll give you a sample.
Thank you.
A diluted sample of my sandwich.
That sounds like a yummy idea. Well, this has been fun. It's
It
been a
has
good
been
time.
fun. It's been a good show.
We have. We've had a lot of fun. Thursdays and Tuesdays, we like to just get you the more sporty-minded things, where Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we go a little bit harder, a little bit crazier.
We go off the rails.
Of course, we will talk about the NFL draft in the first round tomorrow on the show, but we are also playing a game tomorrow called What's in My Mouth.
Adam says, breaking news. Brew Sports has suspended Tanner Burke for violating Brew Sports drug policy.
We have a drug policy?
Boo, Wendy Testenberger, boo. Oh, my gosh.
I love it. Unbelievable.
Trevor brings up a good point real quick. I just want to get to some of these comments real
Please,
quick.
yeah.
Trevor says, players like Gronkowski and Khalil Mack come out of Buffalo, but my Bills can't swing for the fences for these homers. He's right. Come on!
Patrick says the Bills could get the best players in the league and yet somehow find a way to piss it all away.
It's true.
And I also do have very high standards for my son, Patrick. Thank you very much.
Luis says, I'm going to a Peruvian fast food restaurant called Bembo's. Google it. I will have to do that.
Bembo's.
I will have to do that.
By the way, what time's the draft tonight, Adam? It's at 7 o'clock Central Time.
8 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Mountain Time, 5 o'clock Pacific.
But you should
And
watch
if you're in
live.
Europe, figure it out.
No one cares.
If you're in London
At 6
trying to figure
hours.
out where your future NFL team is drafting tonight, figure
at
it
6
out.
hours if you're in London, if you're from the Central.
So,
Midnight?
anyways,
Mitch Trubisky? Who's going to go first?
because it's Cleveland, I mean, obviously it's going to be Myles Garrett, but Cleveland would be the only team that would make the mistake of drafting Mitch Trubisky first overall.
It's true.
I don't know.
So which one you get?
Some people actually think it's going to happen.
I know it does.
Some people actually think it's going to happen. So
who are you taking, Mitch or Miles?
you're going to go with Myles.
All right.
I'll get it. especially in Cleveland's case, they have a pick, like 10 picks later. So, like, what are they worried about?
A lot. San Francisco, who's right behind them, wants
there's
Mitch
a couple.
Trubisky.
There's a couple mediocre quarterbacks that will go in the first round. And
That's true.
They can just pick
I'm
whatever's
going to take
left.
Mitch just because I'm going to apply the Cleveland craziness and see what happens.
Oh, my God.
I hope they don't, but we'll see.
I honestly hope they do because I don't want to play against Myles Garrett.
You guys play the Browns this year, don't you?
I mean, we don't every year, but we play them enough that it's like, okay.
Packers play the Browns this year too, so I'll take
Not that I really
any
care.
of them.
It's gonna end up turning into a situation like Houston with what's his name down there? Not J.J. Watt, Jadeveon Clowney. Jadeveon Clowney.
Yes, J.J. Clowney.
Mitchie T will drop to the second round. Watch it happen. If that happens, you can call his career over immediately because it's gonna be like watching Johnny Manziel sit there for the entire draft, just like sweating.
What?
Yeah,
Second round.
He's not gonna get drafted.
Who said
he'll
that?
Get drafted before that for sure.
Who do I need to slap? Adam, you're on my list.
Josh says, let's go Red Devils, 2 hours until kickoff. Hey, go Bucks tonight.
Bucks and 6?
Go Bucks tonight. I don't like any team from Toronto. So
TFC
it just
nice.
Makes it, well, okay. I love Toronto, don't get me wrong. I just,
It's true.
I hate the Leafs.
Eric makes a great point, too. He says, isn't it crazy how people sit in front of their televisions and watch people read off cards, award shows, drafts? Yes, it is kind of funny, honestly, and ironic how people do that.
It is.
If you're tired of that, you should come watch Brew Sports tonight, 7 p.m. Central Time. Watch the NFL Draft Show live on Brew Sports. I'll be here. We'll have a whole gaggle of folks.
I'll call in.
You should.
I'm working the Bucks game tonight.
Once Buffalo makes their pick.
But I'll call in.
You're going to be the first person we got to hear from.
You're right, actually. Why not, right? All right, I'll be there.
Have to.
I'll be there.
I love it. Well, we'll see you guys tonight at 7 p.m. Central Time here on Brew Sports for the NFL Draft Show. What?
Trevor says, also congratulations on becoming Olive Garden's next big thing, Baxter.
Thank you. My first shift
if you didn't watch the show yesterday, go back and watch the second half of the show. Because
first shift of being a line cook tomorrow.
Baxter and I prank called a bunch of our friends, some of which, as my friends from Buffalo may know, some of the people who were on there. So it's hilarious. It was a lot of fun, and I was sweating.
And
I was
my grandparents.
And his grandparents.
I haven't heard the end of it yet.
Just a lot of fun. So go back tomorrow. What's in my mouth?
What's in my mouth?
And I have some interesting ideas for you.
Yeah, I got to figure that out.
So it's gonna be fun. So come on back tomorrow. We'll play What's in My Mouth, where Baxter and I put things into each other's mouths, and we have to guess what they are. And we will be blindfolded. Was this your idea or my idea? I don't remember.
My idea.
My God, it's gonna be awful.
I think that's what it was. I don't remember.
I'm scared for that. I was scared for the prank calls.
We have to come up with some sort of ground rules because I don't want nobody dying or cutting themselves.
Yeah. I was scared for the prank calls, but I think I'm more scared for this.
Oh, that's a live grenade. Well,
okay. Grenades off limits. Damn. No grenades.
That's a sharp knife.
No
Tanner.
Loaded shotguns. That's a sharp knife. What is it? It's a loaded shotgun. You're wrong. It's a loaded sawed-off shotgun. You lose. We're going to figure out what our penalty is, too.
Well, we already know that we can kill people live on Facebook, so, I mean...
Oh, my God. On that note, I'm Tanner Burke.
I'm Baxter Colburn.
Follow us on Twitter at BannerTurk and at Baxter Colburn. Not to be confused with Caxter Bulburn.
No, or Quinaxton Maloburn.
Yes. We'll see you tomorrow for What's in My Mouth on halftime. Until then, thank you for watching, and thank you for commenting. Thank you for loving and liking and sharing.
Brew Sports.
Brew Sports.